Ladies and recovering addicts, Andy here, author of The Best Tinder Guide on the Internet and The Reason Why Curfews Exist. This is the Kill You're in a Loser show. Let's fucking go. So we're going to do a quick sort of update video. A while ago, about 3 months ago, I did a video saying I'm going to quit caffeine, porn, video games, and alcohol. Now, for full disclosure, I'd already gone about 9 months alcohol-free at that point, and I have given up video games, caffeine, and shit like that in the past. Porn is something that I've always struggled with, so we're going to talk about that one in a second. But quick update video, because a bunch of you have been asking, how's it been going? I had planned to, or my mission when I set that goal was to do one of these videos about every 3 months. So here's a 3-month video. In terms of, let's start with the easy ones. Video games was no real issue for me to give up. So I have been massively fucking addicted to video games in the past. I've wasted way too many hours, days, weeks, months, years playing video games. For me, the game of choice was always Dota 2. I've always been obsessed with that. I was a little obsessed with Counter-Strike and shit like that, but in general, it wasn't too hard for me to quit that. So it was basically uninstall Steam, uninstall all the games, make a commitment to you guys on this channel, tell a few of my friends and shit like that. And I knew that I was going to be able to go cold turkey on that. That wasn't really a big issue for me. So that one's easy. Caffeine was a little more of a struggle. I've always been someone that uses coffee in the morning, especially when I first wake up. Like, I'll just have a fucking coffee, especially like a really sweet coffee, like a Starbucks coffee or something like that. Definitely an addiction there. So in terms of giving that up again, was just, cold turkey, telling you guys, telling friends, telling family, hey, I'm going to quit caffeine. I'll say the first probably month was a bit of a bitch. There was a huge adjustment there because I use coffee to deal with the fact that I haven't had a good night's sleep. So I would intentionally, I guess it was subconsciously, I would not go to sleep, not do the things that, have a good sleep routine, not wind down, not start turning the lights off and using the orange, the light blocking glasses, all that kind of stuff. I was kind of neglecting those habits because I could always just fix it in the morning with coffee. So when you cut the coffee out, all of a sudden now you're left with like, holy shit, like I wake up in the morning and I feel like trash. What am I supposed to do? So there were a bunch of days where I would struggle, and it was just like it felt like the worst days ever. You'd wake up and you're just like a fucking zombie. So I had to kind of go through this period for the first couple of weeks, like, getting my head around the idea that I can't just use coffee or caffeine as a crutch. And so I had to do some thinking, some meditating. I had to calm myself down. I had to let go of those negative thoughts and say, just because I'm tired doesn't mean the day has to suck. I can still get shit done. I've said this to a bunch of you guys. I've said this to a bunch of my coaching clients recently. Guys who struggle to get perfect sleep will then say, oh, well, I'm tired, so, I don't have to stick to my diet. I'm not going to go out and talk to girls. I'm not going to make money. I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm not going to do any of that shit because I'm tired. And so I had to sort of drop my own ego as well and say, no, just because I'm tired doesn't mean I get to make that an excuse. So the first couple of weeks were definitely difficult. And then I kind of fixed my sleep. I've got an article on how to fix your sleep. So go onto my website and just search for sleep. But going through that period for the first couple of months, or the first month, I should say, was pretty fucking difficult. But I'm glad I went through that. I'm glad I pushed through. And you guys will find if you're giving up any vices or giving up addictions or even just cutting them back a little bit, you'll find the first month, maybe the first couple of weeks are difficult or challenging. And then once you get through that, it's like it's infinitely easier. It's not that you don't have like triggers or urges or anything like that. You still will. I still every now and then will have a day where I'm super tired. Even this morning, I was thinking to myself, man, a coffee would be really nice right now. I'm kind of tired. I got like 7 hours sleep, but it wasn't the best sleep ever. Maybe I could have a coffee. And I was like, no. Like, so you will still get those urges, but they're easier to swat away. Whereas the first couple of weeks, you haven't done it for long enough to build a habit of like giving up the addiction. It was only like a couple of days ago that you were drinking coffee or watching porn or drinking alcohol or whatever it is. So it's really tempting to just go back because you go, fuck it. It's only been a week, whatever. But the further along you get, it's like, no, I'm not going to break my streak. I haven't had coffee for 3 months. Why would I break that? So this shit gets easier the more you do it. I'll say that with any addiction or habit that you're trying to break, if you can just last through the first couple of weeks or the first month, it gets way easier. So that's caffeine. It's been pretty manageable. I'm definitely not going to drink caffeine for the year. Like that's pretty much locked in. Same with video games. Like I don't even think I'll That's not even really going to be a struggle. Alcohol, a year sober now, so I did a video separately on that, which I think I will release after this one. I'm not sure. I might release it before, so not sure what the order will be. But yeah, a year sober now, that's been challenging at parts, but the further along I got, again, it just becomes like a lot easier. You still get tempted, you still have urges, but any vice or addiction that you're giving up, after a certain amount of time, it's like, it's been so long that why would I go back to that vice? Like, I've figured out other things, and a lot of this is you figuring out other things that will sort of get you through those rough days. Because if you're used to going for alcohol or video games or porn or whatever it is, if you are having a bad day and you don't have those crutches anymore, you have to go and find something else. You have to meditate, you have to go for a walk, you have to go to the gym, you have to hang out with your friends, you have to watch a movie, you have to write on my forums, like post a log or something. You have to throw yourself into self-improvement. Heaven forbid, you might have to meet a woman and get a fucking girlfriend or sleep with a couple of women, and that's your outlet. So finding like more healthy ways is, I wouldn't even say helpful, it's fucking mandatory. Finding more healthy ways of dealing with the day-to-day triggers and the day-to-day bullshit and the day-to-day emotions, like all the shit that we go through as humans. You really need to replace an addiction with something healthier. You don't just quit an addiction. So that's those three. Now we're going to get onto porn. So porn, full disclosure, I've relapsed quite a fucking lot of times. I won't say I knew this was going to happen, because that can be a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I wasn't surprised when I started relapsing. The other three, so video games, caffeine, alcohol, God, my brain fucking froze there. Those three were fairly easy for me to give up. Like, I didn't think that I was going to have relapses for them. But video games, porn has been like the biggest struggle I've ever had. By far the biggest addiction I've ever had. So I've relapsed a bunch of times. I very much knew that would be part of the journey, and I think I gave myself subconsciously, if not consciously, permission to trim it down slowly. So I tried going cold turkey at the start, but I think in my head I said, if I can just do porn once a week, and then once every 2 weeks, and then once every 3 weeks, and then eventually go cold turkey or like trim it out entirely, I'll be very fucking happy. So I'm going to count it as 1 year. Like, my plan is to have an entire year clean from it. So I'm going to keep resetting the clock, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start the actual like year from whenever I start it, or I'm just going to keep going until I get a year like in a row. And if I don't get a year, if I get to like 9 months and relapse or something, cool, I'll just try again and keep going. So the goal there, ideally, I would like to never look at porn ever again in the rest of my entire fucking existence. That would be wonderful. I don't know how long that will take to get there, but I'm fairly patient with it. It's not like I'm desperate to fucking get there. So it's not like porn ever ruined my fucking life. I think I talked about this in the video where I said why I'm quitting all these things. Porn never like ruined my life, but it has enough of an impact on my sexual like enjoyment with other girls, especially my girlfriend Imogen. It really does get in the way. It's like energy that I'm pouring into porn is energy that I'm not pouring into her. And I don't like that. I also don't like feeling that I'm an animal who doesn't have control over himself, or like can't stop doing something he doesn't want to do. Because I don't particularly love porn. Some people with addictions or vices, they go like, oh, I don't hate this vice. I know it has negative side effects, but I also get enjoyment out of it. Weed is a really good example of something like that. For alcohol, for a lot of people, alcohol is one of those things. But for me, porn was always something that it's like, if I could just cut this out entirely, I'd be happier. Like, I don't want this. And so it's something I'm keeping working on. I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm fairly patient with it. I'm not desperate to get rid of it, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's a poor way of phrasing it. It's like, I know I eventually will get rid of it. That's a better way. It's like inevitable. It's just a process of like, when do I get there? And so I'm patiently working on that. I got a bunch of porn blockers, which have helped. Got a bunch of other strategies, accountability with my girlfriend and some other friends and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm fairly hopeful with that, fairly optimistic. Going to keep working on that shit. Like I said, I'm happier with reducing it. And I would say this to almost any of you who are giving up a vice. Try not to, like with some vices, you can just go cold turkey and say like, yeah, cut this out entirely. And that's fairly easy. Caffeine is usually for a lot of people one of those things. Alcohol can be as well. Video games, you just uninstall them and you're good. But for some vices, they've been with you for so long that yes, you want to cut them out entirely. Yes, cold turkey can work for a lot of people, but if you try cold turkey and you don't fully succeed at the start, don't beat yourself up. Don't go, oh shit, look, I've relapsed. I'm a loser. Why can't I do this? What's wrong with me? The mission at the start is to just be a little better than you were in the past. So again, if you're looking at porn every day like I was, multiple fucking times a day, if you can just cut that down to once a week, what a fucking victory that is. You're now looking at it 1/7 as often. What a fucking incredible, or 1/10 as often. What an incredible fucking victory. Then go to once every 2 weeks, then once every 3 weeks. At that point, like, hey, maybe I can try going for a year. Maybe I can go for fucking 2 years. Like, be patient with yourself with this shit. The mission with all self-improvement, the mission with life, really, is to be a little better than you were the day before. To improve those little bits, like fucking 0.1% better. Add that up over a year. Hey, that's a shitload. That's like 30% better. 1% better every day. It's like 3. That's not even true because it will have compounding. But you guys get the point that I'm making. So, in summary, 3 of the vices, fucking, I'm pretty comfortable saying I'll be fine for the year. Alcohol's already been a year, so I'm just going to go 2 years on that one. I'm going to go another year. Porn is a little more of a beast for me to tackle, but I'm patient. It's fairly easy it's not the biggest deal. So I'm quite happy to keep chipping away at that, using the porn blockers, all that sort of stuff, keep working on it. Any of you guys that are struggling with addictions yourself, like I said, just be patient with yourself. I've done videos and podcasts in the past of how to give up porn, how to give up other things. So, go and watch those. But in short, be fucking kind to yourself. Treat yourself the way that you would treat your best friend, because with addictions, it can be very easy to say, what's wrong with me? I'm a loser. Why am I doing this? Why can't I stop? You wouldn't say that shit to your friend. That would be an evil fucking statement to say to your friend after he relapses or if he's struggling. You wouldn't be like, man, you're such a piece of shit. What's wrong with you? Why can't you stop this? Why are you such a loser? So however you would treat your friend, treat yourself the same way. You're not special. You don't get special treatment. You don't get to beat yourself up just because it's you. That is counterintuitive. It's less helpful. It is infinitely easier to give up addiction if you meet it with love and kindness and patience and, just keep pushing yourself forward, and you sort of have that voice, or you tell yourself, you're going to eventually make it. You can do this, buddy. You got that. That's so much easier to give up an addiction feeling like that, rather than, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're a fucking loser. You're never going to make it. Fuck you. Stop this fucking porn. What's wrong with you? That's not a good energy. It's not going to help. It's counterintuitive. So go out there. If you guys have any questions, or if you're struggling with this shit yourself, I do offer coaching. I've got that there. You can also come to the forums. We've got forums. You can sign up, and other guys there quitting addictions. I know a lot of people at the start of this year have said, I want to quit alcohol as well. I want to quit sugar. I want to try this. I want to try that. So that's a good community as well to help you. As always, guys, go out there and crush your goals.